All right, you guys, so I am here for our week, technically it's week 4, but we are doing the week 3 Facebook Live, and I'm just going to wait a little bit of time for some people to kind of tune in, log in, get on their computers. Sorry, my voice is cracking today. I'm going to try to talk as loud as I can. It kind of hurts as well. Hi, Kristen. I did have a client compete yesterday, and it was a very large show here in Kentucky called the Kentucky Muscle. It's actually one of the largest in the eastern side of the country for the NPC amateur. It was a long show. It was a 5 a.m. wake-up morning, and I didn't get home from eating with the athletes until 2 a.m., I think. So, and the screaming and the cheering and whatnot, I'm just a little hoarse. So I'm so sorry that it is going to be like this today. I apologize. But I want to go ahead and get this started. So we're starting to get a couple of people into the chat, into the room. Hi, Christina. How are you? I don't know if my client Jenny is in here. I know she's in the group, but I don't know if she's watching. But congrats. I'm still so proud of you. She might be watching from her car ride home. Or she's probably getting ready for her trip. She leaves for Mexico tomorrow. So, anywho, all right. To kind of keep this rolling with things, I want to go ahead and start off with any accolades we need to bring on about week 3 training. Any good accomplishments that anybody wants to share? I would love to hear how your training went this week. So, you guys go ahead and let me know. I know you guys have been commenting throughout the week on the Facebook group, and that's been really enlightening to see how people are dealing with the load and the volume rep schemes. So anybody want to share anything that they've accomplished this week? That would be great. I think there is about 8 of us in here now, 9 of us, which is good. Anybody? All right, so nobody wants to add anything. Okay, so we're going to move on to some topics on the whys behind the load versus volume rep range. So I believe, I don't know who, let me go back and see who asked this question. It was like maybe last night or early this morning. It was Jennifer Otwell. So Jennifer, I'm not sure if you're in this group. If you are, just, chime in and say, hey, I'm here. But I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So it is a very challenging type of training, and because of the challenge, it's definitely not some type of training that should be done frequently because it is so hard. Like even to stay within the 6 to 9 rep range, you're utilizing like a really high weight for yourself, and so you're having to consistently do that over four sets. So it is going to be a challenging workout because you're lifting a heavier load. So those load days, you could essentially sometimes very much so go over your volume from a previous week because you're just utilizing a higher weight than you did before. Now, the same with the volume, if you guys know how to calculate weight, the volume, which is weight times reps times sets, you know that if you reduce the weight by 20 pounds, say, but you increase your reps on that reduction in weight by like another 8 reps, like your volume is going to exponentially increase. So that's why those those volume ranges are in there. It's for you to pick a moderate weight that you can move successfully with almost perfect form. Like that's like one of the big goals with the volume ranges is that you pick a weight that you're very, very comfortable with using because it allows you to really stay connected to the movement for all of those reps. And you can go all the way up into like the 14 to 16 range, typically with what you had done at a 12 rep range in previous week. Like that's the goal with progressive overload training, is that maybe not week to week you see changes, but you might see a change in one particular motor pattern from last week to the next week. And that's where the volume, you can't really do that kind of training and seek progressive overload every single day on your body. You have to kind of take a chance to like deload things and like rest. And that's where when you're not training endurance, muscular endurance in those low volumes, you can then revert to more of a strength-based workout. It's going to be focused more on strength. So I'm sorry, you guys, I'm so clouded today. I'm so tired. trying to power through this. I hope that kind of made sense. Jennifer, did you go back and read through the packet? And it talks about how like a load focus is mainly for strict hypertrophy, strict growth, strict strength improvement when you're working within those lower rep ranges. And then when you're working in those higher rep ranges, you're working on muscular endurance, muscular capacity, and you're doing a different form of muscle hypertrophy. It's called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is the flood of nutrients, or basically fluids, carrying those nutrients into the muscle. And that is where that pump comes from, because basically your muscles get so engorged by nutrients, fluid across the muscle cell barrier that's what makes it appear bigger. It's blood volume, it's nutrients, it's carbohydrates, it's proteins, it's all of that going into the muscle fiber, and it's like pushing it forcefully by doing those high rep ranges. That's why you're going to probably get, if any of us in the group tend to be one of those people who do get more vascular when they train. Vascularity, yes, it has to do with the level of leanness of your body, but it also has to do with where genetically you carry your veins. I could be, 20 weeks into my off season and still have a vein coming through my forehead, and I could still have a vein in my arm, just because genetically, biologically, that's where I have those veins. I always have, it's on this side because I'm backwards. I always have a neck vein when I train pretty strenuously. So vascularity is going to be enhanced during those sarcoplasmic hypertrophic weeks. So when you're training for volume, going up into the 12 rep range, 15 rep range, and you might even see it when you work within those load days and you get up into the 12 and 15 rep range. But that's basically what you're doing is, just increasing blood volume and increasing fluid to that muscle tissue. You can't train like this over time. And it's been proven through multiple research avenues that you don't necessarily gain strength from doing sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, that it's a momentary size of the muscle tissue growth, and it's not long lasting. Well, absolutely, that's very much so the case. However, the flood of nutrients and blood helps with healing and repairing the muscle tissue faster. So it's almost like it's a way to help aid in recovery of the muscle tissue. So yes, indirectly, it may not lead to sheer strength over time changes. However, it does lead to the health and functioning of the muscle tissue. It also leads to better nutrients and better blood flow through your training. So there's reasons why I have you guys kind of undulating this pattern throughout the training, is because you're getting the most bang for your buck and the most benefits through training and getting a more recovery throughout your workouts placed into high volume, high intensity training. So I hope that makes it a little bit more understanding for you guys on how I designed this phase 1 of the program. So I'm going to go ahead and read Jennifer's comment here. Jennifer said, I did, and that does make sense. I guess I've never done training that mixes the two. Was just interested in the fact you do both at the same time, i.e. both load and volume in the same week, alphabet of different muscle groups. Yeah. So basically it's just helping your body adjust and undulate through various types of training stimulus throughout your week. And not, like if you were to train, and I don't suggest doing this, but if you wanted to see what it would look like for your body when we are done with this programming, Jennifer, you could go through and you could try to do day 1 through 5, and you do volume. And you only do volume 1 through 5. And I can guarantee you're going to feel, by the end of the training block, you're going to feel very tired, very stressed. You're going to get less work in, say, day 4 and day 5 than you got in day 1, 2, and 3. Because by the time you go through those many days in a row training like that, your system, your central nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system is stressed, and it's just going to produce subpar training. So if you undulate based on your daily types of training, and you hit the muscle group in different stimuluses each week and different ways to stimulate the muscle group, it's going to help prevent you from A, getting overtrained, A, getting bored with your training, or that's 2 A's, I'm so sorry. B, bored with your training, and C, adding in like sneakily adding in sources of recovery by doing the like high volume work to get blood and nutrients flowing through the tissue. So hopefully, obviously your girl needs to recover mentally from this weekend. Before doing a Facebook Live, I should have just like slept. all day long before this. But unfortunately, I did have to catch up on work. So, all right. So Christina said, love hearing all of the science behind these rep schemes. I've always mixed it to cover the bases, but didn't know the benefits. Christina, that's great. Like a lot of people do mix it up, not knowing the benefits. They just do it because it feels good, or it feels like that's what I should be doing. Because intuitively, we're typically not people who like to go in the gym and do the same thing every day or the same type of thing every day. We need variance, and we need that entertainment factor to our training. Now, I'm always want to say, like, let's not train for entertainment purposes. Like some of the movements that I see on social media, they just make me cringe because I'm like, oh my God, you could like rip your face off if you fall from doing whatever it is you're doing. Like I'm really much so sticking to the basics, but within the basics, you can make things variable and you can change the stimulus so you can feel entertained, you can see your progress grow exponentially, and you can just kind of be entertained by progression and be entertained by that undulating change in rep schemes. And like it's kind of cool to sometimes go into the gym and be like, wait, I think I did load yesterday, so today must be volume, and now I'm going to do this muscle group with volume focus, and I'm going to look back at my training log and I'm going to see, okay, so I need to be hitting these targets for today, and that like gives you like a sense of purpose going forward in the workout. So I'm really glad to hear that Christina and Jennifer are enjoying the program and enjoying the fact that there is this undulating sense of change throughout the program that they have to adhere to, but also that you guys are seeing progress through it and like feeling the progress. So I know, I think Jennifer mentioned the pump that she felt, which I thought was really cool because I knew people were going to feel that, and I like wanted to like share in that like first time like feeling sensation of like getting that. Has anybody made it to D4 yet where they did the shoulder training? Anybody made it to D4 where they did shoulders yet? Actually, no, I think D4 might be a load. It might be next. It might be day 4 next week. That's volume. Let me look real quick, you guys. Week three, day 4 is volume. So yes, obviously you guys know I have not done that volume work yet. I haven't made it to D4 in week 3 yet. Yes, so Megan, thank you, Megan, for chiming in. She said D4 shoulder almost killed me. Yes, I'm sure that you guys were glad to see that it was not 4 sets. I feel like if you get a good mobility session in before you start lifting, you get some good warm-up lifts before you start going at it, that 3 sets is plenty volume. Did she just get in my pantry? You see that door open? No. You see the door open? It's a cat going in the pantry. Yeah, so I just don't think that you truly need, doing more than 3 sets. However, progression does seek places in the future. So I do want you guys to learn how you guys can carry this program in your future. In your future, you could work within a 4-set volume range. You could change it to a 10 to 12 rep goal, and you could carry it into a 4th set by bringing down the reps a little bit lower than 18 kind of thing. Or you could just say, I really, really, really want to improve on my seated dumbbell press. And so I'm going to try, the main compound movement of that workout is the seated dumbbell press. So I'm really going to work on that one for 4 sets, excuse me. So yeah. So that would just be a way to progress the program for yourself in the future. And Christina said, yes, second day DOMs hit me good today. So good. I actually, when I used to run this with some of my in-person training clients, they used to call it their, either they coined it their day that they had to blow dry their hair the day before because they knew they wouldn't be able to blow dry their hair the next day after D4 style of training, or like the taking of the oatmeal packet. Like sometimes they would say that even tearing things and pulling things apart was like seriously difficult from the muscle soreness they would have. So Megan Trout said, or whatever day it is, it was volume and I almost died. Yeah, anytime it's volume, like you guys know, when I posted that, the quad day, any sort of volume day, and I'm a previous endurance athlete, so any endurance athletes, like, raise your hand, who now don't focus on endurance and going, oh my God, this sucks. But yeah, like now my voice is cracking. Because I got loud and got all excited. But any sort of endurance for me, muscular wise, like it's a strain and I'm gasping for breath. My heart rate's up. That's another thing is I think when you're training for volume, it's more focused on a little bit more rest time and recovery between sets. And when you do that, your work is going to take a long time. And I'm trying really hard to make these workouts really efficient for you guys, under about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes kind of thing. So yeah, those need to be pretty efficient because it's tough. Like I was dying in that quad day. Let's see. Kristen Marie said the rep ranges for load and volume are my favorite. I feel such a pump. Yes, Kristen has been running. She has been training with me for many, many weeks, and we actually just hit our 1-year anniversary. And she's been running the load and rep ranges now for probably about 6 months, maybe. You can correct me on this one, Kristen, but I think that she's seen exponential changes, and she's also been able to, I feel, increase her caloric capacity by being really efficient training in these load and rep ranges, because I think she just works to her maximal abilities, meaning caloric capacity can increase because you're working maximally most training days. Kristen says, haha, yes, and brushing my teeth. Yeah, that is a tough one. That's a good one. I've not heard the brushing the teeth one, but yes, it makes so much sense. And Christina says, haha, I used to have to plan my long runs well after chest day because the DOMs were not good. Yeah, know that I used to, well, hold on. Back in my long running days, I did not train legs at all because I thought running was enough training for them. And I wonder why I had knee issues because I had dominating quads. But anywho, enough about me. All right, so Kristen Marie says, I think about 6 months is correct. Yes, I agree. It has been about 6 months. Get down, Coca. You running that program. Okay, so I think that covers that topic. I want to go ahead and we got a little bit more time left. So I want to address topic 3. I've got to go through and find the topics. Okay, topic 3, lingering questions about rep goals. So I feel like everybody feels really confident here, but is there any other questions about rep goals or understanding how you look at your previous week's accomplishments and pick your reps for the future? So I've mentioned this many, many times, but your previous week of progress shapes your future week of progress. That's how you can base your numbers. Now, training is never linear. Training progress is never linear. Some days you're just going to be hit by external variables that affect your training, whether it be water, whether it be nutrition, whether it be meal timing prior to training, whether it be, social life, emotional life, like things can affect your training. Most of this group is women. Actually, all of this group is women currently. And like your your menstrual cycle or menopause, if you're going through it, is going to affect your training cycles. So there is things that go on in your ovulation cycle called the luteal phase and the follicular phase. And those phases, like when you guys want to research this topic, because you can go into the depths of pure chaos of female athletes training and understanding their menstrual cycle with training results. Lyle McDonnell is a great researcher on this topic. He's done many, many studies on women, female athletes who train through their cycles and how training is effective. But basically, prior to ovulation, actually being present, meaning the actual cycle is going on, and you are like releasing and shedding and all that jazz, your training and strength goes down the tank. Like you just feel, you feel drained, you feel weighted. And then as soon as that cycle kind of starts and it's like you gotta, deal with it, your strength peaks. It goes to kind of newer levels, and you can also kind of pay attention to your training patterns by paying attention to your ovulation cycles. So again, it's the luteal phase and follicular phase that you have to pay attention to. So if you guys want to do further research on that to help you understand how to pick rep goals, in the gym when you're going into it, you know that, hey, I'm ready to kill it today. And I definitely am going to base my training off of these numbers, or, hey, I need to probably pull back because like your friends, I forget what they call it, like your time of the month, your Tom, your shark, people call it Shark Week, which terrifies me. But you know what I'm talking about. Like, in your head going into the gym, whether it's going to be the day where you just train to train, or you train to progress, or you train to, you know, go down, like deload because you know you don't feel good and you just need to go in there and like give yourself some movement, give yourself some love and care, but you're not in there to like annihilate yourself kind of thing. So stimulate, not annihilate, are some of my like phrases, actually not my phrases, my friend and training partner Alex, he says stimulate, not annihilate. That when I come into the gym and I don't feel like myself, it's about just stimulating the muscle tissue, stimulating movement in my body, getting blood flow and good circulation through the muscle tissue, because you're definitely not going to lose progress over one day where you just focus on stimulation instead. So I do want to encourage that. If you go into the gym and you really want to hold according to your like group, our group, that's fine. But if you don't feel up for these load and volume days, then like skip a load and volume day. Like just go to your standard 10 rep goal and go on with it. Like train according to how you feel and how your body needs to be that day. So Sarah Caldwell said, if I try to lift a weight and can't say, like if I only hit 5 reps but needed to hit 6 to 9, should I count that as a set or keep trying till I hit the perfect weight? So as you keep trying, you're going to keep stimulating your muscle tissue and you're going to be fatigued. So if you hit 5, Sarah, I would say you're pretty close. I would count that as set 1. Like you're pretty darn close. Just make notation in your journal or wherever you're keeping track of everything. Make notation that you attempted it and you got 5. Now, if you attempt it and you only get like, say 2, like you gave it a run for your money, girl. Like I'll give you that. You overshot yourself, but you only still did 2 reps. So I think if you were to recover just a little bit, you might not need to count that as your set 1. Again, also the time of stimulating the muscle tissue just to accomplish 2 reps is not that much. And typically when you go to pull it 1 time, I think in your head, you probably know whether or not you can actually keep going to 6. So if you get 5, like that's pretty darn close. You just overshot yourself just a little bit too much. So I would still count anything in the 5 rep range as set 1. Again, don't hold yourself to these numbers. These are just goals in mind. But, you know, and we're not doing any 1 rep max training with this program. So that's another thing that like you could do in the time frame between this phase 1 and phase 2 programming is you could add in some 1 rep max training to see and to have a better gauge of where these sets need to go. And like I said, as you were to repeat this phase, say go back and do, you know, another week again, you're just going to become more efficient at guessing where you are given in your training logs at that time. So hopefully answered that question. So we are going to move on to topics. Well, this is like we covered basically all the topics for this week that I had listed, but I do want to go ahead and open up the floor for the next couple of minutes on any questions and concerns for week 4. Week 4 is basically a switch, a repetition of week 3, but you're switching the load rep ranges and volume rep ranges for various muscle groups. So I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but I just wanted to feel like I could throw it out there if there was any lingering questions about the transition into week 4. So I don't know if you guys, I did want to share, so Sarah said thanks, so great, I'm glad I can help, you're welcome. I did want to share the fact that like, because of how I'm having to train for my health right now, I don't do day 4 by itself. I have to combine day 4 with chest day most weeks. If my chest is really sore, I'll actually just go ahead and do day 4, which I did day 4 on its own, not this week, but last week. So week 2. But yeah, so I'm having to like put shoulders on another day. Shoulders is a very small muscle group. So if you were going to have to combine any 2 days together, I think somebody mentioned the fact that they had to do 2 days in one together. And I was kind of alarmed because I was like, oh yes, people could potentially do this. And I just want you guys to know that like, if you were to have to do that because of time and schedule permits, day 4 is really the only day that I would combine. Sorry. Like, I know that you might want to go in there and try to knock out day 1 and day 2 in a row, but like, that's really hard. That's total body. I don't really suggest training total body, that many movements, that many sets in one movement. Like, it's one thing to train total body and you're like a set of squats, a set of deadlifts, a set of shoulder presses, a set of chest presses, and a set of pull downs. Like, done. There's total body. And like, it's a little different when you're just doing one movement per muscle group to stimulate. So that was just something I remembered I wanted to talk about that here. And I think there was another, oh yes, I'm planning on tonight uploading into the Instagram handle Audacious Athletes, the one arm dumbbell split squat for balance that we talked about. It was that Bulgarian split squat variation, one leg elevated behind you. Some people do it with 2 dumbbells. Depending on how I feel that day, will sometimes do it with just holding 1 dumbbell. And I wanted to showcase that for you guys. So I'll be posting that to the Instagram later on tonight when I'm just like sitting down, resting. But I did get a video of that this past week and I just haven't done that yet. It was in my notes. So I promise that's coming to the Instagram post. Okay, so I am going to close out here in the next couple of minutes. It is now 5:12, so I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any lingering questions. Volume rep leg days are going to be the death of me. I know, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. That squat day is going to be tough. But, you know, if you just have to end up going down to like barbell, we all understand. We all feel you, girl. It's going to be tough. I don't know what I'm going to pull that day. That's going to be a tough day for me. I do also think my cycle is starting this week, potentially coming up. So that's another thing I've got to deal with in strength. So I'm actually curious now that you guys know about the menstrual cycle affecting strength, kind of hearing your feedback on that in the coming weeks together. That's going to be, I think, something that's going to resonate with a lot of women here in this group, that you're going to start paying attention to those patterns you'll see. So, anywho, anybody have any lingering questions, comments, concerns? Again, I know that there's some couple people that have come into the group recently. We didn't really have a whole lot of people share any of their like accomplishments this week in training, and I would love to hear some. I'm all about, you know, sharing personal accomplishments in training. Oh, so Sarah chimed in, could be why I had not such a good week. Yeah, Sarah, it is unfortunate that our cycle kind of controls a lot of our emotions and feelings and how our body like is prepared to handle stress. Unfortunately, we're kind of that fight or flight, and our bodies need our attention and our strength elsewhere at that time, and it just takes it from our muscles, unfortunately. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Lisa Brown says, kills my lower back. I'm assuming you're talking about your cycle, not just a random movement, because if it is a random movement, when you talk about it, we can give you some modifications. But yeah, that's another thing that affects a lot of training during that time is the lower back. Your sacrum or your erector spinae muscles basically are kind of in like shots fired area, and it's just like something you create more heat, and you can just have that resonating pain back there. And that, she said yes. And that's going to make things like the glute ham day really, really challenging. It's going to make back training somewhat challenging for you. And just in general, like for me, cardio is the worst. I feel like that gets affected the most during that time for me. Strength is affected, but like I just don't want to do cardio during that time. And the crazy thing is, like, once I'm done with cardio, I feel like the muscle cramps are relieved, but like I'm just more exhausted and more tired, unfortunately. Okay, so still no goals. Guys, I want to hear what you guys accomplished this week. I get bummed out when I don't get to hear things like that. I don't think I had, well, I'm not really doing too well with the whole like PRs right now, because I'm not training to like a full capacity right now. So I have to be careful there. But I did set a little goal for myself. I didn't put it in our programming because I don't feel that many people have access to a lying leg press. So you guys might have seen in my Instagram post that I want to set I feel comfortable being able to possibly set some goals for myself in the gym now and like strive to potentially working within some PRs or working towards some PRs. So it's not like a compound movement PR by any means, but the lying leg press machine at one of the gyms I go to here in town, I can put 2 big wheels on there, which big wheels are 45s. That's what I call them. It's big wheels. I don't know if other people do, but that's what I call them. And I can put the 225s right in front of it. But I would like to potentially, maybe by the end of this training block, potentially maybe, you know, by the end of this 8-week cycle with you guys, have gotten some of my strength back and potentially being able to do the lying leg press for like a 6-rep goal range, doing that for the 4 big wheels on it. So 4 45 plates. So that's my goal. I'm going to share it with you guys. Maybe you guys can hold me accountable. I don't get to train there as often, so I can't really program it into my workout week necessarily. But when I'm there for leg day, basically I'm just going to add that one in. It is a leg press, so I'm adding it in between my major lifts for the day because it is like a heavier movement. So, and like I said, I'm only adding this when I'm at that particular gym. So it's not something that I'm going to improve on super quick, I think, because I'm not going to get consistency on it. But either way, I had to set myself some sort of goal because I needed something to strive for. I think somebody said, I'm envious of some of your gym equipment. Yes, Christina, I'm very fortunate here. Louisville is a hub purposes, which is kind of the niche market I kind of find myself attracted to. Or just a lot of CrossFit gyms, a lot of just strength and conditioning athletes, a lot of power lifters, a lot of competitive weightlifters in this area. So the gyms really, I think, strive to appeal to the audiences that are going to be coming there. So yes, I'm very fortunate with where I have to train. But yes, so that's my goal. So I would love for you guys to share with me some of your goals. Keep in mind, I know that this program doesn't cover all the machines in everybody's gym. So but this program is going to help you become more efficient in a lot of other things. So if there's another machine that you really want to, work on, or a movement pattern you really want to work on that you want to incorporate into this program, comment in the group, because I can either help you see where you can program it in so you can accomplish it in a pretty efficient way, or I am creating a phase 2 shortly after this program. And I would love to know, hey, this machine is pretty commonly available to other people and they want to learn how to work, get progressive with it. So I would love to add it into phase 2 if other people really want to add it in. That would be exciting. You guys could help shape phase 2 for me. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out here, and I will see you guys next week for our week 4 wrap up. But it's actually our 5th Facebook Live and our week 4 wrap up before we start our next training block. So next week, we're going to probably have a lot more questions, a lot of more involvement next week, because people will be going forward and looking into that, preparing for that Facebook Live for us to be basically ready to go into that week for success. So I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you guys so much for understanding about me being super tired and super lethargic and raspy and needing water and trying not to cough while I'm here. But I've had such a great time with you guys tonight. I have a great time reading all the comments and questions. And I love you guys. And I will see you guys next Sunday. You're welcome, Christina. You're welcome, everybody. And see you guys later. Bye-bye.